Maldef was created in 1968 by Latino leaders in the southwestern United States to use the legal system to represent the interests of the Latino-Hispanic community in challenging long-standing patterns of discrimination and exclusion in society. Consciously modeled on the NAACP Legal Defense Fund, Maldef was created to ensure that Latinos could realize the American dream without facing undue impediments of unfairness and inequity in schools, at work, at the ballot, and in local, state, and national policy. Our founders envisioned an organization that would employ litigation and policy advocacy informed by legal knowledge and a strong connection to the community. With the growth and dispersion of the Latino community, Maldef faces new challenges in promoting the civil rights of Latinos throughout the country. Focusing on education, employment, immigrants' rights, and voting rights, Maldef's objective is to pursue strategic litigation and policy advocacy to promote practices toward the Latino community that align to our nation's Constitution and its civil rights laws. We believe that by doing so, we secure a better United States for everyone, Latino and non-Latino alike. The demand for our services is great, and pursuit of national strategic objectives requires expansion of our staff and network of offices. Maldef brings legal expertise and a strategic focus to our efforts on behalf of courageous clients and community partners in all our program areas. The Latino community is now the nation's largest minority group, and with continued growth, the community will remain the focus of much public policy, both good and bad. Unconstitutional and unlawful policy and practice targeting the Latino community have much broader spillover effects on the entire American community. Maldef is well situated to defend against such policies on behalf of the enduring constitutional values that make our nation great. Maldef has a dedicated and skilled staff that brings its expertise and its strategic focus to all of our work. Our strategy of pursuing mutually reinforcing work in litigation, policy analysis and advocacy, community education, and strategic communications means that we can employ multiple tactics to influence policy and to secure civil rights for all. Due to the hard work of a relatively small staff, we are able to accomplish much more than organizations of similar or larger size. Maldef's primary metric of success is the extent to which we have contributed to the development and pursuit of policies by critical public and private actors that better reflect the shared principles of equity and opportunity that underlie our nation's success. More concretely, we measure the number of our lawsuits that change public policy, the number of bills and legislative proposals we advocate that result in real improvement of the lives of Latinos specifically and of the entire nation more broadly. Our success in promoting the advancement of Latinos, the nation's largest and fast-growing minority group, is an intermediate, albeit critical metric of our progress toward this larger measure of success. Our name, which is a product of the history of our founding, is sometimes misinterpreted as narrowing our scope of work. In truth, Maldef has worked throughout its history on behalf of the entire Latino community, not just the Mexican-American community. Indeed, our goals extend beyond the Latino community to embrace a fairer and more equitable nation for everyone. In addition, many are unaware of the critical role of our exemplary community education programs. For example, we've operated a parent education program, the Parent-School Partnership, for nearly a quarter century that has been a model in fostering parental engagement in public schools. Maldef has had numerous critical victories in litigation and policy advocacy throughout our history. For example, we secured the right of all students to attend public school, regardless of immigration status, through litigation in Plyler v. Doe, decided by the United States Supreme Court in 1982, which prevented the state of Texas from continuing to charge tuition to some students to attend public school. More recently, our litigation obtained powerful Supreme Court decisions, striking down an Arizona restriction on voter registration in 2013 and reshaping Texas congressional districts in 2006. We've obtained precedent-setting rulings in state courts on equitable school financing and successfully challenged numerous state and local laws targeting immigrants. We've obtained significant settlements in employment cases, and we've sponsored and promoted critical legislation in states such as California, Illinois, and Texas. Throughout our history, the growth of the Latino community in individual states and communities has triggered fear in some residents and voters. Too many unscrupulous political figures have reacted to the perception of this fear by championing anti-Latino laws and practices in the hope of sparking temporary support among some voters for their political ambitions. The products of this failure of leadership are bad laws that target vulnerable people and serve the long-term interests of no one. Unfortunately, this phenomenon has been repeated more often as the Latino community expands in different regions and states, creating a heightened need for Maldef action without additional resources to address this increased need. Maldef would use additional resources to expand our ability to pursue our strategic objectives of increased respect for constitutional and civil rights in public and private policy. We would pursue additional litigation, particularly in new geographic areas. We would increase our engagement on public policy and legislation in states with new and growing Latino populations. And we would expand the availability of our proven and exemplary community education, focusing on Latino parental involvement in public schools and on promoting college-going among Latino youth. Maldef pursues its strategic objectives through a structure of regional offices. Due to the recession of 2008, Maldef closed a regional office in Atlanta, Georgia, which served the growing Latino community in the southeastern United States. While we have expanded our efforts out of Washington, D.C. to fill in part the gap created by this closure, we need to restore our presence in the southeast. In addition, with the growth of the Latino population in the Northwest, we need to create a regional office to serve that community better.